Assalamualaikum. My name is Shedar and I am going to present the entry strategies, the entry strategies of the international business. We will see what are the different strategies that most of the organizations follow for doing business in other markets. So let's start. First of all, let's see what are the key issues that firms organizations face when they go for the international business. Here it says any firm contemplate, contemplating foreign expansion must struggle with several decisions. Which foreign market to enter? First of all, they should know which foreign market means which country they are going to go there and start business. Choose based on long run profit potential, market size. First of all, you will see when you will go outside for the business, you will see what is the market size and that what is the market size that you are going to work. Growth rate, what is the growth rate, what is the of the uh, potential of their those country customers, that what is their buying capability. So political stability is also there. You will go uh, in a country where you will see that there is no any disturbance, such as political disturbance. If there is political stability, so you will find it good to work there. Competition, you will see uh, what is the level of competition there in that particular market. What are the potential competitors that you have to face there. So first of all, the question was which means which foreign markets to enter. Now when you will enter, you will make strategies according to that, on what scale, what will be your scale, and which mode of entry you will prefer. So when to enter, there are two things. First, first is the advantages, and other is the disadvantages. So in advantages, we are having first mover advantages. Means if you will decide the time to entry, means if you want to be the first mover, then what are the advantages that you will get? So ability to preempt rivals, establishing a strong brand name quickly. So when you will become the first mover, then you will be having the potential, or you will having the ability to create the brand name. Once you will create the brand name, then you will be having a potential to face the competition. Then we have the ability to build sales volume. So we will be when we will be first mover, then we will what will happen, then you will be having more customers because you are new in the market and there is no one operating in the particular market. So the your customer base will increase. Ability of early entrants to create switching cost. So uh, you can also make the switching cost either easy or difficult for the potential, or for the potential competitors that they, they will come after you. Means how much difficulties you will create for them for their entry in that particular market. Disadvantages are first mover. Now there are the disadvantages. There are basically mostly two disadvantages. Pioneering cost only an early entrant has to be, and means when you will go to a new market, then there are some costs that you have to pay in terms of legal costs, that you will go to another country and you will uh, operate your business, and there are other costs as well. You know, possibility that regulation may change. There are the possibilities that the rules and regulations of the particular country that you are going to operate may change there. So these were the disadvantages. Now, scale of entry. There are two scale of entry: large scale entry and small scale entry. So let's talk about the large scale entry. Commitments, decisions that have long term impact and are difficult to uh, reverse. In large scale entry, you have to make decisions that are for long term, not for short term. So if you have taken some decision, then you will feel difficulty to reverse it, because you are working on uh, large scale entry. So local distributors and partners will take you seriously if you will, you know, go for large scale entry. They will take you seriously, because they will think that he will operate uh, for more time, and it will be beneficial for them also. Make us liable to rethink marketing entry. So this also will cause the rivals or competitors to enter into the market that they are that you are performing. And because of this large scale entry, you may encounter some competition. Local firms of that particular country may attack aggressively in respect of their different policies and strategies. So this was the large scale entry. Now, small scale entry. Let's talk about it. Time to learn about market and reduce exposure risk. What happens in small scale entry? In that, but if you will go for small scale entry, then you will have time to learn about that particular market. Means first you will observe that either this market has potential or not. What are the what are different competitors there? So for if you go for small scale, then you will have some time to observe this all. Reduce exposure risk. You can reduce exposure risk because you are not for long a large scale, because you are in small scale entry. But fast moving competitors may beat you. If you are a small, if you choose small scale entry, then there will be the competitors in that market, local competitors that will they 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 can beat you, because they may go for the large scale entry, and they will have the support of local distributors and partners as well. Now, here is the entry modes. Now, entry modes. Now we will see what are their different entry modes of international business. Basically, there are six different methods to enter into a international market. First is exporting. Second is wholly owned subsidiaries, the most common kind of foreign direct FDI. Licensing, franchising, joint ventures, and turnkey projects. First of all, let's talk about the wholly owned subsidiaries, or we can say foreign direct investment. Means you don't need any partner, you don't need any you don't need any help of any other person. Just want to you want to run your own business in particular foreign market. Advantages, we will see what are the different advantages. No risk of losing technical competence to a competitor. No risk of losing technical competence to a competitor, because it is your own business. You are running your own subsidiary, so there will be uh, you will manage all your things, so there will be no any uh, risk for losing technical competence. Tight control of operation, because you are owning your own business in particular country, so you will have your tight control on that particular business. uh, realize realize learning curve and location economies. You will learn different things there, because you will run your own business. You will come across with different things, different strategies, different things about that particular market that you are operating. You will learn about that. You will learn about the economies of different locations that in that particular market. These were the advantages. Now disadvantage is very expensive. Yes, because you only go for the uh, uh, international business for your own your own, because you are not getting any help from other. You are not. Uh, so that's why there are the cost of that wholly owned subsidiaries, yeah, or foreign direct investment is very high. Uh, in that, because you are wholly owned subsidiary, so you will bear all cost and all risk. All cost and all risk will not be shared by anyone else. So you have to bear all these costs there. Subsidiaries could be greenfield investments or acquisitions. Uh, Subsidies could be greenfield investments or acquisitions. Means you can go for the uh, you can acquire particular business in that particular country. This is one of the way. Uh, this is also known as greenfield investment or acquisitions. So for let's take an example of the uh, let's take example of the Kareem. So we know that Uber has acquired all acquired, or we can say bought purchased the Kareem. Now, what will happen if Kareem is working in Pakistan? Then whole business of the Kareem now belongs to the Uber, and Uber can run this business from another country. For example, Uber is operating in uh, Dubai, so he can operate from there. So this is how all these things work. Now, exporting, as we all know that exporting is simply you produce something and you export it to other countries where you think that your product will be purchased. So there are the advantages and disadvantages of exporting. Avoid cost of establishing manufacturing operations. Many of the firms or the individuals go for this exporting entry, because they think that they will not have to invest in manufacturing operations there, or manufacturing. business is there, or the building a whole structure there. So they just need they just need to create good and then export it. May help achieve experience curve and location economies. This will also bring experience and uh, the information of the local economies as well. So this is the advantages of the exporting. Now, disadvantages: possible higher transportation cost. Uh, Maybe the exporting cost is maybe it may be costly in particular countries. There are some different tariffs and taxes, so they have to bear this if they are going for the export. Possible lack of control over marketing rates means you don't have the control over there, because you are not yourself going there and operating. You just produce good and send there. You have no any control on their market, especially on their local market. Licensing and franchising, these are basically two different terms and with different approaches. Let's talk about the licensing. Licensing means agreement where licensor grants right to intangible property to another entity for a specified period of time in a return of royalties. Means you give license to someone for an intangible property to another entity for a specific period of time. Let's say there is the let's talk about the example of that licensing. Let's suppose that Coca-Cola is working in Pakistan, and its main, or we can say its headquarters is in Karachi. So uh, if he want to give uh, if you want to operate in other country, for example, let's let's take an example. If Coca-Cola wants to operate in another country, then he will uh, license them uh, particular business to use their name Coca-Cola and their formula or something. So this is how licensing works. So reduce development cost and risk. It's clear that they don't have to build a building there, and development costs are just not there. Works in unfamiliar or potentially volatile market. You may work in unfamiliar and volatile market there, because you just give license to them and they operate by themselves by knowing their local market. Overcomes investment barriers. Yes, it also overcomes the investment barriers. You don't need to just invest anything, just you need to give license and you will get your profit. Others can develop business application of your know-how. This can be the either you take as uh, maybe this is a disadvantage. What I think, because this is Coca-Cola is your own uh, company, and you produce that soft drink, and you have your own formulas and on that particular rules, regulations, policies. So you have to share with them if you are going to if you are going for licensing. So you have to share with them, means you are sharing your formula with them. Franchising, franchisor sells intangible property and insist on rules for operating it is also an intangible property, and but they impose rules, particular their rules and policies for operating business. Uh, let's suppose KFC, there are different franchises of KFC uh, in different in different countries. They have to uh, they have to follow their rules and regulations. Reduce cost and then same you have if you are going to for franchising, you are reducing your cost, may profit movement of profit from one country, support operations in another, may this can happen also. Quality control, you have to have quality control because you are sitting in other country and you have giving your franchises are working in other countries, so you have to, this is the challenge to control the quality. Joint ventures means when you join with other business to work together. Advantages, benefit from local partners knowledge. You when you join hands with another particular firm, then you what you do means you are getting their local exposure, local knowledge. For example, if you are you are you make joint venture with the company that operates in India, so you will have the all knowledge of particular local market of the India. Shared cost risk with partners means your cost and risk are shared. Reduce potential risk because uh, there is less potential risk because you have divided your risks and costs and profits. So that's why this happened. Disadvantage, risk giving control of technology to partner. This is the disadvantage. Uh, you what you do, you provide your technology, you provide your formulas, you provide um, your business activities, your specialties with them. This is the risk. May not realize experience curve or location economies because you will not there go there. You will just uh, shake hand with them, have partnership with them, but you will be your own in your own country, and they will be operating in that particular country. So you will not be able to analyze experience curve because you will not be there. So how can you experience? And also location economies. Shared member ownership can lead to conflict. Of course, when you are having ownership, shared ownership or partnership, so there are conflicts there, conflicts of decision, uh, different conflicts in management. So this is one of the major disadvantage of the joint venture. Turnkey projects, uh, contractors agrees to handle every detail of project for foreign clients. There are also different advantages and disadvantages. Can earn a return on knowledge assets means you can earn if you are if you are getting a project to work. Okay, so you earn a return on particular your knowledge, less risky than conventional FDI, foreign direct investment. This is less risky than foreign direct investment because these are the just projects that you have to complete and you may go. There are disadvantages. No long term interest in foreign country. These are the short term, as I before said that these are the just short term projects. May create a competitor. Yes, there may be different competitors. They are selling process technology, may be selling competitive advantage level. So if you are uh, working on the project, and then you have to share the technology. And if you are sharing your technology, then you are sharing your competitive advantage. So this is the disadvantage of these turnkey projects. Core competencies and entry mode. If what you are good at is technique, what should be the core competency and entry mode? If you are if you have technological know-how, then avoid licensing and joint venture arrangements. So you have to avoid from these both. If you are if you have technological know-how, probably use a wholly owned subsidiary. You can use a wholly owned subsidiary for this if you are having a technological know-how. Management know-how, the firm's valuable assets include a brand name. If you are having a management know-how, then you basically there is a brand name behind that. Either franchising or wholly owned subsidiaries may work well. As I gave example, KFC, Coca-Cola, these are the brand. So they know about they are having know-how about their management. So they will if they go for the entry mode, they should go for the uh, either franchising or wholly owned subsidiary may work well. Oftentimes, a joint venture is politically more acceptable. Many of the times, in this case, management know-how case, joint venture may also work, but most favorable is you go for franchising or wholly owned subsidiaries. So we are done with our with the presentation. Uh, hope you have Hope you will learn something from that presentation. Thank you so much.